morning. It's Mary Bartos for the Bartos Group of Premier Plus Realty, and it is my distinct pleasure to have Vaughn Ellison, the CEO of St. Matthew's House, as our guest today. Good morning, Vaughn.
Really, Mary? It's good to be with you.
Exactly. Really, Mary? Who knows? Anyway, it is March, and it is the Bartos Group time for our food drive. But St. Matthew's House is where we give our food to, and I will tell you that there is a huge need for food this year because of the pandemic. So, Vaughn, I'm going to turn this over to you and really talk about what's happening in St. Matthew's House and the food that you're providing to the community.
Well, you know, our passion right now is really to meet the needs of the hurting and the poor in our community. And over the years, we've always been here to meet the needs of hurting families. Back in January of 2020, we were helping about 400 to 500 families a month. It was a real typical situation. This last January, because of COVID being under full swing, we were helping more than 8,000 families. And so the need with people being laid off or being cut back on their employment has really just dramatically increased. And so food drives like yours are really what give us the capacity to meet the needs of those families that are out there. This week alone, we've already helped about close to 2,000 families, and we're doing that every week.
Wow. I'm writing these numbers down because that is huge. No idea. I think most of us don't realize, Vaughn, about what's happening in this community because there is so much wealth. There is so much high end that people just don't have any idea about the hurting in our community.
Right. I think that's true. And, you know, we have a real estate market and a stock market and things like that that are booming. And, you know, it's everything is happy on this side of the street. But the person on the other side who's dependent on waiting tables, and now the number of tables are down, or the people in the service industry, the resort industry that may be impacted by this, and families who have had to adjust because their kids are at home schooling virtually and they're not getting the hours they did before. Those are the families that aren't benefiting from this real estate boom, or that aren't benefiting from us uptick in the stock market. So we've got to look at ourselves as a complete community and make sure that we reach out to those who are hurting and vulnerable and make sure those kids have a meal on their plate.
Without a doubt. Talk about some of the other things that you guys do at St. Matthew's House. In addition to this huge increase in food, what other programs are you doing for the community?
Well, we've been a homeless shelter where we do outreach to the homeless, get them in a shelter operation. Our goal is to have faith-based free market solutions to poverty and addiction. So that means engaging the community to love the less fortunate and the least of these so that they can be brought in to a place where they can find hope, healing, and recovery. We also have addictions recovery program. With the pandemic and people isolating and quarantining, people being laid off, we forecasted early on that we would see the worst overdose death rate in the history of the United States. And that's proving to be true. The early numbers for 2020 are that we've had far more overdose deaths, and, you know, alcoholism, addiction, and the despondency of isolation has led to higher suicide rates. So we're aggressively reaching out to our community and to the hurting and vulnerable people to get them the hope and the help they need to turn their lives around. While we can take measures with masks and with quarantine and all those issues to deal with one disease, the COVID-19 situation, there's sometimes unintended complications or aspects of that. It's kind of like the commercials for any of the medications, and the side effects may be, well, the side effects of what we've been doing to get the pandemic under control is people are more isolated, families are hurting, people are lonely. And, you know, I was talking with some folks in the family law side of things yesterday, and they were saying the divorce rate's going to be record levels now because it's people, economic pressure, the isolation, the anxiety, and the fear, all of those things have led to people really struggling in ways that we hadn't forecasted. As the pandemic numbers seem to be getting under control and improving, we have a whole lot of people who are still hurting very much in our society.
So true, so true. And even more so, just as you said now. Well, you know, we love giving to St. Matthew's House. You have a great cause. It's a great distribution for us to collect food and give out to the folks that need it. And we sure hope that people will either grab a bag. If you don't get one in the mail from us, grab one. You can call us. The information will be below. You can take it directly to St. Matthew's House, or you can donate online. Vaughn, talk about how they can donate cash if they'd like to do that.
Right, they can go online. What's happened is, in a direct response to the pandemic, we've given out now about $15 million worth of food in our community to make sure that families that are doing without, and mostly it's people with minor children and sometimes the elderly as well. And those that we hadn't budgeted for that kind of expense, but because people have been generous and there have been resources, food drives like yours, we've had the capacity to do that. So they can go onto our website at stmatthewshouse.org. It's stmatthewshouse.org, and they can make a donation. And what's interesting for us is because we have a social enterprise model where all of our administrative and logistical overhead is covered by our business model, everything that's donated goes straight into our mission. So the food you give, the donations you give in this food drive, all go straight to the mission and to relieving the needs of the poor.
Love that. I sure love that. So we'll make sure we post that below so that if you want to click on and give cash, go ahead and do that. Again, we will come and pick up the food and bring it back and then take it in, or you can take it yourself, or you can drop it off at one of our locations, which will be below. John, I think our marketing guy had it going around with what our website is so that you can get all the directions on the types of foods and easy to do. So look for that bag in the mail. Again, if you don't get one, you can still participate in a number of ways. Vaughn, thank you so much for being part of the Really Merry program. And as we kick off our food drive in March, we all want to say thank you so much for donating, and we hope and look forward to receiving those donations to give out to the needy here in Southwest Florida. Ciao.
Thanks. Bye-bye.